Hey viewers, it's Cara. I'm your Tuesday host on The Pagan Perspective, and this week's topic is coming home. First of all, I'd like to apologize for this video being really late in the day. It is 10:19 p.m. right now, and if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I was busy sort of all day. I had my last day of classes, and then right after that, I had to go out and get crickets for my gecko so I could feed her. And it turns out the pet store was out of crickets anyway, so we got back pretty late. I went to dinner right after that, and then I was going to record, but I was falling asleep, so I tweeted that I would be taking a nap for a while and then recording my video before Glee, and I ended up not being awake enough to do that. So I slept until Glee, just watched Glee, and now I'm here. So I'm sorry this is really late, but now I'm on summer vacation, so the next couple should be perfectly on time. If you don't get them Tuesday mornings, early afternoons, I'll be very surprised. This week's topic was suggested by T.S. Gore 1960, who sent me a personal message on my channel asking me to talk about our aha moments or our coming home experiences when we realized that paganism is what we believed. I'm not gonna tell the whole story or read what he said, but essentially someone asked him what he believed and he didn't know what to call it, so he explained his beliefs and the person told him that's paganism. So he looked into it and realized, oh wow, that's what I believe, there's a word for it, that's amazing. My experience, I've done a video on my personal channel a long time ago called Finding Wicca, which is basically about this, but I'll give you a brief summation again. Essentially, I didn't know anything about Wicca before I started studying it except what I had seen on Charmed, as Kyle mentioned, and the kids in my school who claimed they were Wiccan. I knew that Charmed, actually at first I just knew that it was supposed to be some sort of familial hereditary witchcraft. I didn't even know that it was supposed to be Wicca when I started watching it, but I mean, I knew obviously you can't really freeze things and blow things up and orb and things like that, although I wish I could, of course. So I didn't even know that was supposed to be Wicca, but I knew that that wasn't really whatever path they were supposed to be. So that was just kind of a fun thing. As for the kids in my school, they were the kids that wore black all the time and had this heavy metal jewelry on all the time and tried to look scary about it and tried to scare people. When I found out later some stuff about it, I thought, well, if these kids are Wiccan, you know, even though they're different than me, I should be able to talk to them about it. So I went to talk to them about it, and I found out that none of them actually knew anything about Wicca either. So yeah, that was my first experiences with Wicca. Not so great. My cousin was Wiccan for a couple years before I heard about it, and then she started talking to me about it probably around when I was 11 or 12, and the way she explained it was very different. Her views are still a little bit different than mine, but she started explaining more of the god and goddess aspect and the revering nature and how they celebrate and things like that. I didn't know that I believed it at the time. I didn't know that it was something to believe. It was just something that I liked the idea of. I guess I just had all these ideas that I thought were not wrong or incorrect, but that didn't fit what I thought about my being raised as a Catholic. I just had all these ideas about Catholicism that didn't fit with mine, but I didn't know why. And then when I sat down and started saying, okay, well, I believe this, and I believe this, and I believe this, and it got really easy for me to say, this is what I believe. Just flat out, I believe in this kind of thing. As I talked to my cousin, as I did my own research and reading, I found out that those are the exact same beliefs that Wiccans hold. So that's when I started saying, well, I must be Wiccan. But, you know, as I read up on it, I read that they recommend the whole year and a day of study before self-dedication and things like that. So I did that. I studied for a really long time before I ever considered myself Wiccan, and I just wanted to make sure that I didn't find anything really contradictory about Wicca. If there was any one thing about it that I didn't believe, I wasn't going to call myself Wiccan if it wasn't a perfect match. And nothing that I found was contradictory to what I believed. And I'll be honest, since then, I consider myself eclectic Wiccan, but I have wondered if Wiccan is really the right title for me, or if general neo-paganism is something better to call myself. I don't know. I went through a lot of naysayers in Wiccans saying I can't really be Wiccan if I'm not initiated by a high priestess and stuff like that, but I'm a solitary, so I don't know people like that. That's kind of the point. Yeah, but I mean, I don't remember the exact moment that I was like, there's a word for what I believe, that's amazing. But it was just kind of like a process of talking to my cousin, talking to these other friends, reading, and it was just really cool. So if you want to know a little more about that, I think I probably went more in depth in my Finding Wicca video on my personal channel. But that's just a quick sort of touching on what it was like for me, and I apologize again, I'm tired, so I'm not like getting as excited as I normally would. The person who asked the question also wanted us to touch on discussing the phenomena of coming home versus the conversion experience of other religions like Christianity, for example. Was it an aha moment for each of us, and what was it like? I don't know what it's like to convert to another religion because obviously I just, you know, did this, but I guess the difference, in my opinion, would be like other religions that have a really specific pattern and like for how you're brought into the community, you actually have to do like a conversion thing. And I feel like pagans don't have to worry about that unless you are being initiated into like a coven or working group or a certain structured order. You don't have to worry about that so much. You just kind of say, well, this is what I believe now and I'm going to do my best to live this way now. So when I was talking about conversion in my medieval church history class just the other day, and they were talking about literally how people converted to Christianity from paganism, I wondered, did I convert? Did I convert from believing one thing to another? Or is that null and void because I always believed it and was forced to, you know, practice something else that I never really think I believe? I don't think I converted. I do think I came home, and that's, I think, where that distinction comes from. I think it is different from religion to religion. And I think a lot of people can come home to another religion, but then they convert. So I don't think I've converted at all, because I haven't had to be initiated into anything specifically. I don't know if that made any sense. I'm really sorry. This is a really, really great topic, and I can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say about it, and thank you so much to this person for suggesting it. I just feel like I'm being incoherent, so I'm gonna stop, because this is probably long anyway. So, thank you very much for watching. Check out my Finding Wicca video if you really want to know more about my specific experience, because I think I probably talked about it more. I'll see you next week. Blessed be.